Who is Stephen A. Smith's MK Ultra handler? Who is telling him to do this, to force these issues? Because it's come from seemingly out of nowhere, where he's constantly doing his Shannon Sharp impersonation. Stephen A. Smith somehow turned the Tom Brady discussion and the discussion about Tom Brady yelling at his offensive lineman. Stephen A. found a way to play the race card on this situation. I want to get your thoughts. Let's take a look at Stephen A. Smith.
But I want to get to a bigger point before I pass it to you.
Right.
Ladies and gentlemen, we need to be consistent. Was Tom Brady passionate, or was he the angry white guy? Because if that was somebody else doing what he was doing with his offensive lineman, we would have been talking about, if that was a black man, we would have been talking about his temper. We'd have been talking about the fact that he might not need to act like that with the cameras rolling. I had no problem with it whatsoever. If brothers ain't blocking for you, you 45 years old, you behind the center, and you getting smacked around, you damn right you should get in their face. I have no issue with what Tom Brady did with them whatsoever. All I'm trying to say is that when a black quarterback does that, I don't want to hear nothing about it, since nobody's saying anything about Tom Brady doing it. And I also don't want to hear about stuff being overblown. He went to Robert Kraft's wedding on a Friday night. He missed the walkthrough, etc. They clearly are not on the same page. They don't seem to have everything in order. If this was somebody, now in that regard, there is a Tom Brady category that's separate and apart from everybody else. The anger part, when he's getting on the offensive lineman, no, that's everybody should be lumped into there. But in terms of him missing a walkthrough because he went to the wedding, damn it, that's Tom Brady. Well, that I will forgive him for.
So I think part of what Stephen A. Smith is doing there is, I think Daryl Moose Johnston was the broadcaster calling that game, and Daryl Moose Johnston was defending Brady, yelling at his offensive lineman, whoever the broadcaster was. Maybe it wasn't Moose, I can't remember. But I think he's saying, he didn't say it articulately or clearly, that, you know, the broadcaster, if it had been a black quarterback, would have done X, Y, and Z. And it's just a joke, man. And I didn't like what Tom Brady was doing because, again, he's not all in, and his teammates know he's not all in. And so him yelling and screaming at them just doesn't come off the way it did when he was in New England yelling and screaming at people, because he was all in. But there is no racial component here. And I asked over Twitter yesterday, I was like, who is Stephen A. Smith's MK Ultra handler? Who is telling him to do this, to force these issues? Because it's come from seemingly out of nowhere, where he's constantly doing his Shannon Sharp impersonation. And I think someone is paying him or put him up to doing it.
Well, first of all, it's interesting. TMZ interviewed Thomas Jones, longtime running back, actually, I think was starting running back for the Bears when they went to the Super Bowl back in 2006. They asked him about it, and he said, no, that's football. Happens a lot, happens all the time. It's not a big deal. And quarterbacks getting on their offensive line, that has been going on for years. I remember as a kid, Dan Marino used to get on guys all the time. Troy Aikman certainly did that. Here's my theory, Jason, as to why Stephen A. Smith pulled out the race card on this particular day. If you go back a couple of weeks ago, he put Miss Sting, Malika Andrews, in her place. Okay, so that went against the code, sort of. Last week or so, he was actually making the rounds for his podcast on Fox News. That's really against the code. So now, wait a minute. The community is not happy with him. So he has to basically go and do this fake neutrality. So it was time for him to dial up the let's get on the white media and white quarterback card. That's what I think is going on here, that he has to even up the score to show everybody, see, I get on everybody. And I hate that, because they believe doing that and criticizing someone or the other side at an even ratio is fair and balanced. They think that's being neutral, and it's not. Now, all you're doing is accounting. It's very dishonest. And I see a lot of people do this in all forms of media. But I truly think that once he made the rounds on Fox News, and I saw some of the clips, and I was surprised that he actually did that and actually got along well with some of the hosts. And that must have angered certain people even more. So to get back into the good graces of certain people, you had to go there.
Yeah, it's one of those deals where people are playing both sides, and you want to be everything to everybody, and not having any willingness just to right is right, wrong is wrong, the truth is truth, a lie is a lie. And so, yeah, I do think he's playing that game. He does have a scoreboard, and he wants to say, see, well,
Yeah.
I played the race card on Tom Brady. Can't criticize me.
Jason.
And it
3-4 weeks ago, we had an incident where Quinnen Williams, very good young defensive tackle for the Jets, was about to beat up his coach. I mean, his teammates on the sidelines had to get him back, or there wouldn't have been assault and battery. You know what? No one brought up race. They said, oh, things got heated. Young players got to calm down. And you know what? Quinnen Williams is playing at a Pro Bowl level for a rejuvenated Jets defense. And they look like a real team. And you know what's funny? Everyone just said that's football. Calm down. I guarantee you Quinnen Williams and that coach are probably getting along pretty well right now with the way things are going. Nobody's brought it back up. It's not an issue. It's football. And I'm not surprised given the network. But I wish one of those players would have said, Stephen A., back off. It's not really that deep. It's football. We've all been through it. It happens. It's not a big deal. But again, there's a certain agenda that is pushed on that four-letter network. And Stephen A. Smith, I guess for lack of a better term, had to get his get back.